I got it!
Look, if you can't tell by this list already, you're seeing a trend here. Games that really get me fired up have two things in common. One, they monetize off of your nostalgia or respect for the franchise with tons of over-the-top weird money spending options that most often than not make no sense.
Okay, the fact he's always used the word nostalgia kind of paints a red flag over what he's going to say here. Yeah, they're not over the top of this game, but continue.
And two, those games were produced and funded by EA, Plants vs. Zombies. It was a simple strategy game that looked great and was easy to pick up and play. In fact, developer PopCap Games had a knack for making games like this. But then they were purchased by EA and you won't believe what happened next. Plants vs. Zombies 2 was not supposed to be free to play. Well, not in the way that it turned out. Originally, the people behind Plants vs. Zombies 2 wanted to have plant food you could purchase to make a level easier, or DLC packs that give the player a bunch more levels. And honestly, that's not too bad. But right when this idea was presented, EA bought PopCap and lit the whole garden aflame. Instead, Plants vs. Zombies 2 has rentable plants where you can pay money to have a plant for a short amount of time.
What? That is complete bullshit. Whole rent a plant system is you can watch an ad to get a premium plant using one level. That's it. When you buy a premium plant, it's full. You have the plant now. So where the hell did you get that from?
This is some dead-ass bullshit.
Yeah, you're speaking some dead-ass bullshit.
This is some dead-ass bullshit. The game was built so that each zombie had a plant that was an easy answer for it, and now some of those plants were behind a paywall. Temporarily, and then it's gone again.
Temporarily? We already know that's a lie.
What really gets me mad about this is Plants vs. at its core was a good game.
You can see from right here, he's using some old footage. Hey, I think got the power pinch in. Remember that?
You'll have fun playing. If you really want to experience, you're going to have to drop a lot of money. And EA could have...
No, that is also cool. I don't know how he's trying to determine the full game, but the dude makes it sound like you have to pay in order to get to the later worlds, which you absolutely don't. In fact, didn't he say earlier on that he defended the original decision of like having DLC worlds? I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I mean, look at the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC stuff. That ain't bad. Yeah, it's not a full game. You don't need to pay for Arena. You don't need to pay for Penny's Pursuit. And then again, even if you are missing out on those two, a lot of people would argue that's not a bad thing anyway, given those modes are not well timed.
Plants vs. Zombies 1 was ported to every single console and mobile device known to mankind. Plants vs. Zombies 2 never left the mobile ecosystem. This game went from being a great casual puzzle-like experience to that game on your iPhone or Android where if you just look at your phone long enough, it's just going to take your money.
What? That is complete bullshit. I can't really add anything fat that I've not already said. It's not pay to win at all. If you're good enough for the game, you can do it without spending money. Also, it's been a long time since they've added like a full-on money premium plan for the game, given they've now adopted this CDM system. Sure, you could argue it's a little grindy, but once again, you do it enough, then you'll get them anyway.
Every single character looked to be designed by a totally different person, each of whom had their own way of drawing. There's full videos dedicated to the poorly designed plants, with the excessive discussion about this flaw being a meme within the community.
Right, now we're done with this. That's a bit of an unfair thing to compare to Plant vs Zombies 1. I'm doing a video of that because there's probably not enough plants that would warrant it really. PvZ 2 is way more plants. And also, this beginning shot implies that I'm saying Plant vs Zombies 2 pea shooter looks like shit, when I don't think that at all. when I did a video of like comparing the Plant vs Zombies 1 and 2 plants on a tier list, I'm pretty sure I said that I like the Plant vs Zombies 2 pea shooter better.
Plants vs Zombies 2 It's About Time. Unlike its predecessor, Plants vs Zombies 2 was free to play. On paper, this sounded like a positive change. It allowed more players to access the game without paying an upfront cost. But in reality, it was a bait and switch. EA had filled the game with microtransactions, one of the most powerful plants behind paywalls, and slowing down progression to encourage players to spend money. Levels became repetitive, and progressing through the game became a grind. Players were willing to shell out cash to speed things up.
What? That is complete bullshit. Game is very possible to beat without paying, you just start. Also, let's be honest, Plant vs Zombies 1 is more better than Plant vs Zombies 2. I get 2 is longer with the old levels and you get much more per world and stuff, but there's more brain busts and stuff to mix things up compared to PvZ1. We've got the 5th and 10th level of each world that always differ, but yeah.
That hired a whole new team of designers and under suspicious circumstances fired George Fan, who designed PvZ1 all by himself. Well, an article later confirmed EA fired Plants vs Zombies creator for refusing microtransactions in sequel, explaining that George had lost his job as he didn't agree with the pay-to-win model. He'd partially confirmed this by tweeting, "Regarding recent rumors, it is true I was laid off by EA/PopCap.
Fired and laid off are not the same thing, you stupid dumbass." I feel like I've said this a billion times by now, but yeah, it's not quite the way you make it out to be. It says laid off there, different thing.
Of course, EA would go on to make more games out of the Plants vs Zombies franchise. But this was the end for me. PvZ2 took advantage of players, and in my mind it still does. The whole brand has been tainted, and for me, I can't see it coming back to its full glory, especially since the Plants vs Zombies 3 beta was received even worse. And as someone at the time who actually spent a fair amount of money, someone who tried to give this game a fair and honest shake, I walked away still seething about this game whenever anyone brings up Plants vs Zombies.
What? That is complete bullshit. Sound like you have some anger issues then. He says making this exact video, but you got to say I have some sort of point though. Alright, 2 things about that. First of all, this clip here, I don't know if it's his own one or not, given he has established that he has played the game. Why the hell wouldn't you use a blower to blow away the jetpack? Like, see what I mean about this guy having a skill issue? Also, how are you going to say this is the worst sequel you've ever played? Like, that sounds like an extreme exaggeration.